Hey, I'm Bob. Been totally blind since birth, and I'm into Marvel. Speaking of which, just went to see Spider Man No Way Home in my local theater. Wanted to talk about the film for a few minutes. There will be spoilers ahead. And needless to say, I found this to be my favorite Spider Man film. I mean, I've seen all of them since 2002. This one, this one takes the cake. So, yeah, there will be spoilers ahead. It's a few days before Christmas as I film this. I am in the mood to watch Home Alone later. So, in that spirit, I will say, I'm going to give you guys to the count of three, and then I'm going to start talking about spoilers. One, two, I'm dead serious now. You go ask snakes. Three. Anyway, here we go. What? Where in the heck should I start? Where in the heck should I start? So I had no idea we were going to get to see Charlie Cox as Matt Murdock in this thing. I had gone dark, so to speak, no pun intended. Well, kind of intended. Yeah, you can go ahead and make that a pun if you want. I had gone dark and had not looked up any spoilers. I hadn't read any reviews. I hate going into a movie like that, just knowing what's going to happen. I feel like a lot of things, if possible, should be left to the imagination. So, seeing him, well, via the descriptive audio narration headset anyway, seeing him on screen with Peter Parker, even though, I mean, we didn't get these guys fighting side by side in their suits, it was still one heck of a scene, especially when Matt caught that brick. That was pretty cool. I will say I really wanted to see Vincent D'Onofrio showing up and wailing on one of the Spider-Men as Kingpin. Didn't get that yet, but it is about it's a few hours before that season finale of Hawkeye airs, so I cannot wait to see Kingpin show up in the MCU. And there's no telling what's coming, but love that Matt Murdock scene, and I really want to see more stuff with Spider-Man and Daredevil, and Spider-Man and Kingpin. I mean, this whole scene really took me back to the '90s animated series. Shows how old I am. Made me think of that two-part story arc we got in the Sins of the Fathers season, the Framed and Man Without Fear episodes featuring Daredevil. And I really want more of that. But man, this movie just threw everything at you. I've been wanting a movie with like 5 or 6 Spider-Man villains at one time, and well, we got 5 of them. I mean, we got Willem Dafoe as Norman Osborn. It was awesome seeing him back as the Goblin, and of course, from the descriptive audio narration headset, I learned that he destroyed his mask right away. So, him without that mask, I hear that the facial expressions that he went with were quite intimidating, quite scary, and good for Willem Dafoe. Actually, the first time I heard this guy was when I was listening to The Langoliers by Stephen King on audio in the '90s. So that's the first time I ever heard anything performed by Willem Dafoe. So I mean, I've always thought that he has quite a wonderful, scary story narrator voice. So he has always been, I would say, my favorite Green Goblin in terms of live action anyway. Just incredible. And seeing him and the other villains from previous movies from other universes show up, I mean, was very surreal, just awesome. Cool to see Alfred Molina back as Dr. Octopus as well. These guys are two of my favorite Spider-Man villains. I do have quite a few, but I mean, wow, these guys were just worked really well together on screen. And I will say that scene where Osborn loses himself to the Goblin persona and kills Aunt May was very unexpected. It does feel similar to actually losing a person, in our reality. You expect them to always be there. And when you have to unexpectedly say goodbye to someone that you've really loved and you've cared about for years, it's a gut punch. And I did not see that coming. I think Marissa Tomei, excuse me, is a wonderful Aunt May. I mean, she's been with us since Civil War, and having to say goodbye to that character was very unexpected. But leave it to Spider-Man to show up just when you need him the most, or I should say, other Spider-Men. I mean, we have our MCU Spider-Man going off by himself after he has to say goodbye to his aunt, and he is just lost in his grief. And we have Ned opening his unexpectedly opening up a portal with that sling ring, and he just keeps saying, "I wish I could find Peter Parker." And of course, we get Andrew Garfield's Peter Parker coming through first, and that was really cool. I don't know which version of Spider-Man. I don't know which version's my favorite. I do enjoy all three of them. I don't think I can pick a favorite because to me they're all Spider-Man in a way. I mean, it makes sense. So I do like that they saved Tobey Maguire's character for last, because I mean he is the guy who got this whole Spider-Man web ball rolling in 2002 with the first film. So seeing him coming through that portal there alongside Andrew Garfield, them just being in the same room, knowing what they have to do, knowing that they got to go talk to this kid, they got to comfort him, they have to relate to him, they've got to let him know, hey, we've lost someone too. With Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, it was his Uncle Ben. Of course, Andrew Garfield also lost an Uncle Ben, but Garfield Spider-Man, he also lost Gwen Stacy. So these two know what it's like to be grieving, and they encourage this kid. They don't berate him for being upset, for feeling like his whole world has been taken out from under him. They encourage him, they lift him up. They do what you expect Spider-Man to do. I mean, they show up when you need them to. And man, did they do that. So seeing the villains show back up again, Green Goblin and Doc Ock and Electro and Lizard, it was really cool. And I mean, there's that one scene earlier in the movie where Tom Holland Spider-Man, he is arguing their case with Doctor Strange. He doesn't want to send them back home to die in their own universes. He wants to cure them. He wants to change their fate, because in all the other movies that we've seen them in, all of these guys die. They don't have a chance to live a life. They don't have a second chance. They all die in battle. And it's really cool, in spite of the fact that Tom Holland Spider-Man, that he's lost his aunt, that he still wants to give these guys a chance, even Norman. Even though he's wailing on this guy, Tobey Maguire Spider-Man gets him to stop. And, he gets him to stop right before he does something he can't come back from. And, everyone's cured, and it's a really touching scene to see the Tom Holland version of Spider-Man. I forget which number he goes by. Was it 3? They each went by Peter 1, 2, and 3. I got to go back and see this movie a second time. But man, was it cool to see all these guys get cured and sent home. But it was bittersweet because in order to stop more visitors from coming through, of course, we have to see Tom Holland erase himself from everyone's memories. I mean, he still remembers events, but I mean, everyone's coming through because they know who Peter Parker is. They know who Spider-Man is. So he's got to, I guess, pull a Ragnar the Blood Edge from Blaze Blue Central Fiction. And he tells Doctor Strange, erase my friend's memories. They're not even going to remember who he is. They don't even remember Peter Parker. That's the only way to close this rift in the multiverse. And I just, I didn't see that coming either. And I mean, of course, we know he tries to go up to him in the end of the film and, reintroduce himself. But he just, for some reason, decides not to. And didn't see that coming as well. So I don't know where they go from here. I hope we get more Tom Holland films. I think he is worthy of the Spider-Man title. I think all three of these guys are. I mean, it was awesome seeing them on screen together. In terms of chemistry, boy, I want to see another film with just these three in a Spider-Man buddy, well, not a buddy comedy, but man, did these guys have great chemistry together. I want more of that. I feel like I didn't get enough of that. I mean, these guys were all just wonderful together. Seeing them all fighting side by side reminds me of that Spider-Man season finale, the series finale rather, from the 90s that we got in early 1998. I remember seeing that on TV as it aired, those two episodes there for the final airing there of the 1990 Spider-Man series. That really took me back to that, seeing all of them on screen there, fighting a bunch of bad guys at one time. And was one heck of a film. I wish I could make a like an hour-long spiel, but I mean, there are probably quite a few people that are doing that, and I really don't want to make, uber long videos if I can help it. I feel like this deserves a second part. I don't think I left anything out. Just trying to list a lot of the things I liked about the film. It was really fun seeing a lot of these villains interacting together for the first time. I think Willem Dafoe and Alfred Molina were pretty hilarious together in some instances. It was pretty cool seeing them on the screen at the same time, knowing that they knew of each other in the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man reality was pretty cool. But yeah, the mid-credit scene there with Venom in Spider-Man's universe, leaving that symbiote behind. Maybe that's where they go. Maybe, I mean, we have seen the alien symbiote thing done, I don't know how many times now, but I guess that's one way to go. Tom Holland's version of Spider-Man doesn't have anybody left. This black goo reaches out to him, and I mean, I guess it's all he has. I don't know. I don't know what the heck they're going to do with it. I mean, there are insane Thanos fan theories out there, I'm sure. I don't know what the heck's going to happen with it, though. It's cool that we have some symbiote goo in the MCU, though. And the Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness trailer, love that at the end of the credits. I'm hoping from the descriptive audio narration track that the tentacled entity with one eye is Shumagorath, or Shumagorath, however you say his name. I've heard it pronounced more than one way. He's one of my favorite Doctor Strange baddies. Of course, I'm thinking of Marvel superheroes and Marvel versus Street Fighter and Marvel versus Capcom 3, but he's just such a horrific character. And knowing that Sam Raimi has worked on this film, there's no telling what we're going to see in Multiverse of Madness. So pretty cool seeing that trailer. I'm going to quit while I'm ahead. This is probably 15 minutes long now? I don't know. And I will hear you guys in the next Marvel related video. I should really do more of these. I love all these movies. Anywho, till next time,